Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid review. Napoli 2, Real Madrid 3. Real Madrid win away at the Maradona Stadium, away in Naples, against are a side that will definitely compete in the Champions League and Serie a side that have been competing in the Champions League and won the Serie A last season in a tight fashion. Let's not act like Real Madrid dominated, because Napoli had their fair share of chances. In fact, they scored 2 goals and they took the lead, and then they got the equalizer. But Real Madrid proved again that when this team is at its best, this team is unplayable. Now, of course, a lot of people will say, it's a one-off game, but let's just focus on this game then, because Real Madrid were actually pretty good in terms of the performance. Of course, there will be negatives, of course, but in terms of the positives, we were actually pretty good going forward, especially. Now, if you look at the stats, key stats wise, both teams 18 shots. Napoli had 2 more shots on target. The possession was basically 50-50. Real Madrid made just a few more passes. Pass accuracy was basically the same. In terms of the stats, it was overall basically the same, right? Going forward, and defensively, the amount of shots, the same. Amount of tackles won, the same. Kepa made 2 more saves. But overall, it's very similar. The stats were very close. In fact, it's one of those games where it looks like it's a draw, but either sides could have really won it. And today you might say Real Madrid were lucky to win it, but let's not say that it's all about luck, because when Valverde hit that shot from 25 yards out or whatever, he did not have luck in that. He took the gamble to take that shot and scored, right? It was a great goal. It came as an own goal, but you know what? It was still a great goal. But let's run through the goals first, because the first goal was, I think, an individual mistake, and I think that mistake comes down to the goalkeeper. I think Kepa has done an absolute howler. He's made an absolute howler with that. It's a corner to Napoli. Kepa gets off his line, and it's not a little bit. He totally comes off his line to try to get the ball. He misses the ball, and I think it was Nathan, if I'm not wrong, who gets the header. He hits the top of the bar. He hits the crossbar, and Østigard is just there to put in the rebound. That is just poor positioning, poor thinking. I don't know what Kepa was doing to come off his line by that much margin, that even after the defender heads the ball to the crossbar, Kepa does not have enough time to react and get back to his goal to stop Østigard from scoring that rebound. Do you know that how much you have to come off your own line to not be able to get back to your line to stop a rebound after the defender has headed it off to the crossbar and then a rebound gets back? It takes a lot to miss it, and it shows that mistake from Kepa. I'm surprised he got a 4.1 out of 5 here on voted on Google, but definitely one of the lowest scoring players on the pitch today. He was definitely the player who was responsible for the first goal that Napoli scored. It didn't take a long time though. 8 minutes it was that Real Madrid went down, and then they got the equalizing goal. Di Lorenzo tries to pass it to Lobotka, if I'm not mistaken. Bellingham, I mean, do we really need to talk about Jude Bellingham anymore? What a player, but we keep saying the same thing every single game, and he just keeps showing time and time again that he is arguably the best footballer on the world in terms of current form right now. And that may be overhyped, but that's not self-arrogance, that's not the player arrogance. You know, he's definitely one of the top 5 players in the world. You know, um, he wins the ball back, he intercepts the ball, he basically just squares it across to Vini Jr. You know, and it's a good finish. It's a good finish. Vini Jr. bottom corner, 1-1, and then after another 7 minutes, Jude Bellingham gets the ball at the halfway line by Camavinga, makes a run all the way to Napoli's box and squares and shoots basically, and scores. You know, great goal. I mean, what a player Jude Bellingham is. Like, we simply cannot use words to describe this player more. I mean, he is the best player at Real Madrid right now, and that's not even overhyped. If you look at the man of the matches, he's got 8 man of the matches awards. He's already scored, was it 8-9 goals this season? This already, a lot of people were saying, you know what, I think Bellingham will score 10 goals, maybe 15. He will probably score 20 at this point, maybe even more. But as of now, he's on absolute fire. He's on absolute fire form. Second half, going into the second half, you know, taking that lead into the second half, it looked like it was pretty alright. And then it was a penalty. You know, the referee deemed that Nacho handled the ball while sliding to challenge Osimhen. You know, did it hit his arm? It technically did, but you know, he was not going to give the penalty, but he consulted VAR, and you know, VAR told him that it's a penalty. But this is what I'm saying. Tools like VAR are good in terms of helping a referee make a decision. You know, if a referee knows that he wants to make the decision, he can go to VAR, he can consult VAR, and he can get further more, you know, obviously, what's the term? I forgot. But he can obviously rely on it furthermore and back up, you know, his own views on it, you know, obviously to support him. You know, VAR is to support the referee's decisions. But it seems like the handling of VAR is the referee decides that it's not a penalty, and then VAR basically forces him to go over and look. And if you look at it that way, it has to be given because he's already considered VAR. He's already gone to VAR to make a check. Of course, he's going to give a penalty. So, I feel like VAR is being misused, and the way they're using it to handle these situations is not fair. Of course, we've seen it, you know, VAR and, you know, obviously the officials in that Spurs-Liverpool match in the weekend that just passed. Of course, it was absolutely shocking as well. So overall, I think VAR is, you know, being misused. Zielinski, I mean, what a penalty. I mean, I can't really say, you know what, it's a great penalty and I respect it, but obviously because he scored and it doesn't really mean much now, but I will say it was a perfect penalty. I mean, Kepa went the right way to his right hand side, but you look at where Zielinski places that ball. It struck the post and in. Like, Kepa is never going to reach the post. Like, it's just not happening. The way he just puts it into the post and in. Brilliant. Zielinski, gotta give him a bit of credit there. And then, wow, Fede Valverde from the corner. Valverde, absolute rocket. 25 yards out, actually. I was correct. I randomly guessed it, to be fair. It hits the crossbar, it rebounds, and it hits Meret, and it goes into the back of the net. I think there is a level of unfortunate for Meret that it bounced off his head and in. It's part of the game. That was unfortunate, but that was a fantastic strike. Let's not take anything away from it from Fede Valverde. We all know Fede Valverde loves a strike from 25-30 yards out, but that was spectacular. That was absolutely amazing. What a finish. And we talked about this against Girona. It's about these moments. And against Girona, we didn't dominate Girona, but we won by 3-0. Against Napoli, in fact, I think we got dominated by Napoli for certain parts of the game. But when it comes to having a moment to score and to take your chance, Real Madrid proved that we can do it. We can actually score and take our chances. That's for now. We don't know if when we come to a period where there's going to be so many more games, we can still do it. But as of now, we are still enjoying a very good spell. And what that does mean for the Champions League, just to talk about the Champions League, our group, Braga came from behind to beat Union Berlin. So Real Madrid obviously sit top now with 6 points. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at the table. And then Napoli are still second, but they are tied with Braga because both teams have scored the same amount, conceded the same amount, have the same goal difference, have the same points, have won one and lost one. So basically, Napoli and Braga are fighting for the second place right now. But of course, there's still obviously one more game before we replay the teams again. But yeah, Real Madrid's next game is Braga. That will be a big test. Again, Union Berlin have been poor, have been shocking. I thought that they could have at least drawn against Braga. They were winning by 2-0, but they threw away the lead. Let's talk about some other games as well, because not all games were played. I'm pretty sure it was only Group A to Group D matches that were played today. Yep. So Bayern Munich obviously beating Copenhagen. Galatasaray getting a shock win against Manchester United, who are bottom of their group right now. Lens beating Arsenal in Group B. Sevilla and PSV getting a draw. Obviously Real Madrid's group. And lastly, Inter obviously beating Benfica. Only just. And Real Sociedad beating RB Salzburg by 2. So overall, that is the games today, basically. But let's go back to Napoli. Let's talk a bit about Napoli before we wrap it up, really. They were unfortunate to obviously concede that third goal. I felt like that third goal was unfortunate. The first goal was a mistake from Di Lorenzo, and it was an over team mistake. Second goal, they just let Bellingham make that run, really. Obviously, it's brilliance, it's magic from Bellingham, but let's also think about it in the Napoli way. They will be gutted to concede that second goal. They did well to score 2. Obviously, one a penalty, the other one a good goal. It was a mistake from Kepa, but it was a good goal. But for Napoli, they will take a lot away from this game. It's not just the negatives, of course, like I said, what happened, but to be able to compete for that long against a Real Madrid side, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to say Real Madrid are the best team in the world, but I feel like to be able to keep up with Real Madrid, especially if you look at periods of the game where Real Madrid were the team that could have scored more, I felt like that is definitely something that they can take away. Now they have to play Union Berlin. I don't think that is a challenge that is too hard for Napoli. I think they will go and beat Union Berlin, and I do think Napoli will go through with Real Madrid still as well. So absolutely no problem. Osimhen absolutely bullied Rudiger off as well. If you watch the game, a lot of people are saying, Rudiger actually, did well. Yes, he did well, but if Osimhen had scored at least a goal or 2, no one would be saying that. It was just that he was not clinical enough with some of his chances. But overall, Osimhen was absolutely fire. He played pretty well. I thought Rudiger had to, obviously keep him quiet as much as possible, even though Osimhen was getting, a lot of chances. And yeah, I mean, Kvaratskhelia, good player. Overall, Napoli were good, but Real Madrid were just one step better, and that is the kind of differences that players like Vini Jr. and players like Bellingham make in this sort of team. Napoli will still progress, absolutely, but in terms of the way that both teams played, Real Madrid probably deserved it slightly more, but I felt like a draw would have been the most fair result. And I even predicted a draw. I said 1-1. I knew that there were going to be goals, but I just wanted to be safe. It felt like it could have been a 2-2 as well. But, I said 1-1 to be a bit safe. And, overall, I'm happy that Real Madrid win, of course, but Napoli should not feel too down based on this result. They still have games against Union Berlin, Braga again, Union Berlin again as well. So they will definitely make it out of the group stage, I believe. I think Braga will get into the Europa League, and I think that Real Madrid will finish top, personally. But who knows? But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, of course. Do hit that button if you guys did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if it's on already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.